Hello everyone, and welcome to another News Coolum video, and I guess a spring update, a little bit of yard work. We focus a lot on electric vehicles and electric charging infrastructure, but frankly, I think electric yard equipment is maybe even more important for a lot of Americans. It's easier to afford, easier to use, and then the particulate and other pollutants that happen in the immediate vicinity of your home are a lot more significant with things like yard equipment. Anybody who's actually run like a gas mower or a gas weed eater or whatever knows exactly what I'm talking about in terms of how dirty they are. And then also there's the thing about maintenance. So this 80 volt push mower, I guess if it were a Toyota EV motor, it would be a self-propelled, self being me. It's a Greenworks 80 volt Pro push mower. We got this a few years ago, well, more than a few years ago, I think almost 10 or 12 years ago. And I made sure and told my family when they got it to get the 80 volt version because I had already purchased an 80 volt chainsaw. And so they're going to be able to use the two batteries. I think this one didn't even come with the battery. And that's why I told them to get this one, because when you buy these without the battery, it's actually cheaper. And I can't remember if it would have come with a 4 amp hour or a 2 amp hour battery, but I had already gotten a 4 amp hour and a 2 amp hour for my chainsaw, and this is that original 4 amp hour. So they actually used to list this as extended run, and this does have literally twice as much energy as the 2 amp hour, but the format is much larger. And one of the things I wanted to update on this is I actually got another 4 amp hour recently because I knew I would be doing a little bit more heavy duty work. And what I ended up getting was this, which is the same form factor as the old 2 amp hour battery. And I actually weighed these out, and this one's lighter as well. So this one has as much energy as this battery, but it's lighter and smaller. And it's just, I think, worth noting how the sort of march of time works, right? And I quipped about this in another video, where in my 80 volt weed eater, I actually think that this lasts as long as a tank of gas. And that kind of compelled me to want to just test it out on this, which the other point of this is, like I said, this thing has been sitting at least 4 to 5 years without being used. I think it's maybe 6. So this has just been sitting. I had to clear a bunch of crap off of it, but I don't even know if it works. So we're gonna see together, right, Billy? So we're gonna see if this works together. And you just flip up this top, and I wanted to use this new 4 amp hour battery because one of the things that I wanted to test out is what the runtime is. So I'll check the time exactly before I start, but it should be about 10:30 now. And I'm just kind of curious to see how long this runs on this new 4 amp hour battery, because like I said, I have a feeling that it's going to be very similar in terms of runtime to a gas mower. And again, way less maintenance, way easier to use. And instead of filling up your tank, you literally just pull the other one off the shelf, swap out the battery, let the other one recharge, and my guess is it's going to be running for longer than it takes to recharge. And if you needed to do yard work, maybe 2 to 3 batteries at most, and you would be able to just mow all day, or as long as you were able to keep up with it. And so this is more, I think this yard is a little bit big for a push mower like this, but I think it's a good test case for how it actually will hold up in terms of tall grass, rough ground, and just a decent amount of acreage to cut down. Let's get mowing. All right, well, I just checked the time, and it's 10:25. Let's see if this thing works after just sitting there uh, off for a long time. I just had to figure out, I haven't used it in so long, so I guess you have to hold this down, then you start. So, yeah. Oh, and I have it on the highest setting right now just to make sure I get good ground clearance. And yeah, so 10:25, and here we go. I'm guessing I won't be able to keep this running the whole time. This battery might last longer than the cameras does, but so, oh, look at that, I figured it out. So I just wanted to, you know, give a view while we're mowing. As you can see, the grass is pretty high, and I should just be able to hold the camera here and do a little mow roll. And more of it than anything else is I just wanted to make sure, you know, for all the naysayers out there that, you know, I'm not putting this through an easy test. I have no reason to game this, or I'm not selling anything, or I'm not promoting anything. You know, I'm just kind of showing my experiences with, you know, yard equipment that has proven to be very trustworthy over the years. And, you know, the number one thing that would go wrong with a lot of these pieces of equipment is the battery. And, you know, this is just kind of demonstrating that with these ones that you can pull the battery out of, you know, they basically will just keep on chugging because you can just replace the battery. So, let's see. I am coordinated, I tell you. Just no barbed wire fence. In fact, I'm gonna give myself a little bit more of a turnaround point. But what you did not know is that I, too, am left-handed. And you know, it doesn't really scare animals that are also kind of skittish. You know, little Billy up there. So, like I said, I'm not going to run this camera the whole time just because the camera's going to overheat, and, you know, the battery, and it's going to be a lot of footage. But I just kind of wanted to demonstrate that, hey, you know, I'm putting this through the paces, so whatever time it takes to mow, this is actual mowing, not just, you know, basic AstroTurf. I'm not AstroTurfing, right? Nobody's paying me to protest. Oh, you hear that? All right, well, sometimes you gotta count your L's. It was actually only 30 minutes, which kind of surprised me, but like I said, this is kind of thick grass, but also, yeah, made a nice big dent in it. I'd have to probably measure it out. But you know, this was the other point. Like, you know, I'm not trying to make a point, and you know, I hurt my back, so I'm kind of trying to pace myself. But if I needed to get this done, I just pull this battery out, put it on the solar charger, and I've got another 4 amp hour battery right here charged up. Yep, all charged up, ready to go. So I would just keep mowing. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this battery onto the solar charger right now. Go grab something to drink. But like I said, 30 minutes through some pretty thick grass. And like I said, I don't even think it takes 30 minutes to charge. But you know what? I'll update on that too. I'll go ahead and pull this one out and go put it on the charger. And then also time how long that takes to charge up. But I'm guessing it's going to be less than 30 minutes or about 30 minutes with that slop time it takes to walk back and forth between the mower and the batteries. But yeah, like I said, 2 to 3 batteries and I'm reasonably sure you'd be mowing all day long. Let's see, 99%, ready to go. Little Anchor Solex. So it's red light right now, so it looks like the battery got pretty warm. So this is just there's a fan blowing. It's gonna blow the air off of it. I'm sure if I didn't have it in the sun, it would probably be a little bit better. I could probably put it down here in the shade so it's not getting that sunlight. And then on the black case and heating up. And then, like I said, sometimes sunlight good. So yeah, I'll check in and see how long it takes to recharge. All right, well, it took a little bit over an hour to finish recharging this battery, including the thermal management and the fans sort of blowing in the vent at the bottom to cool it. But I think it's fair to count that time total as well, because if you're going to be running these batteries, they're going to be hot. You're going to want to cool them before they start charging. But like I said, not like I didn't have a spare sitting here ready to go as well. And yeah, based on that, I would say you'd need 3 4 amp hour batteries plus a charger, mobile, however you're charging it, and you could literally just mow all day with this. Basically go through 30 minutes, set it aside, pull the fresh one, you know, and start that one charging. And by the time the first battery gets done charging, you'll have burned through the other 2 batteries and you'll just continue the cycle. So yeah, it's just basically 3 of these and you could just mow continuously all day. The mower itself works perfectly good. And in fact, this might actually cut better on some of this grass than the Ryobi riding mower does. And I don't know if that's just because the Ryobi is trying to take up too much of the grass at one time, too big of an area, versus this where you're mowing much smaller sections. But and then it could simply be RPM or, you know, just power to weight to size to cutting surface ratio. But overall, yeah, this Greenworks 80 volt Pro mower, it's been great for the last, I'm losing track of time here. I don't know. This could have been, and actually some of these batteries have the original dates on them. Oh yeah, no, this has it. This is 2018. So just this 4 amp hour battery is already 7 years old, or almost 7 years old. And then I know that we've had some of this equipment even a year or 2 before that. So 8, 9, 10-year-old mower. The only thing I would really change with it maybe is get a self-propelled or a power assist forward motor. Just to, I mean, it would burn through more battery, but it would just make it more consistent cutting. And it would be, this one is easy for me to push even through this heavy grass, but for some people it might be a little bit more difficult. So I'm fine with this one, but yeah, you might want a power assisted push if you want it a little bit easier. But yeah, so overall, not so bad. This new, smaller, lighter 4 amp hour battery from Greenworks, 30 minutes mowing heavy grass. And you know, I'll keep my eyes out. You know, like I could easily see them going up to even maybe a 6 or 8 amp hour batteries that are in this small form factor as energy densities improve and you know, the battery technology continues to improve. And like I said, these are, I'm just sitting here holding these two batteries. They don't really weigh that much. They're easy to manage, easy to use. And like I said, yard equipment like this is, especially with interchangeable batteries like this, chainsaws, weed eaters, lawnmowers, leaf blowers, snow blowers. These are the types of things that I think the average American sees a lot of use out of. Like I said, I'm not selling Greenworks specifically. There's lots of brands, but I just kind of wanted to showcase that this stuff is just easy. And like I said, you try letting a gas mower sit for 5 or 6 years without using it, and then have it start right back up once you figure out the start sequence. So anyway, I'd love to hear what you think, what your experiences are. Do you have one of these push mowers? You maybe a riding mower or something else? What has your experience been with these small form factor, high voltage, high power batteries? This is one's 80 volts. You know, a lot use like 56 volt. There are 40 volt and 60 volt variants for Greenworks as well. Yeah, just let me know what you think, and thank you for watching. Yeah, this is, I just went ahead and used 3 batteries worth. So yeah, this is kind of what you can expect. I would say that this patch is probably close to about 1/8 of an acre. So just to close out this video, you know, I cycled through the original. So I cycled through this new 4 amp hour battery, the original 4 amp hour battery, and then I put the new 4 amp hour battery back in. So this is kind of where I closed off. You know, and I still have 1 bar left. So yeah, so probably I would say, being conservative, if you're planning to mow all day and you have a decent amount of acreage, you'd probably want 3 batteries, 3 4 amp hour batteries minimum, and expect to be able to do about 1/8 of an acre every 1.5 to 2 hours. So not too shabby. And then, you know, my allergies and the sniffles are starting to come up a little bit. I might do that next section another day, but yeah, I wanted to go ahead and get this one down. And then of course, just with fire season heading in California, we've got to do breaks around all of the properties. So it'll be a mix probably of this and the weed eater. And I guess, spoiler alert, I'm rebuilding the battery on my Ryobi. But like I said, I almost feel like this is maybe even a more effective mower. And yeah, little Frenchie checking it out. And it's a little bit of a more effective mower, and you know, it just gets me walking around a bit. I think with my back, I don't even think I could use that riding mower. Probably hurt my back a little bit. And this, at least I get to walk vertically, not tweak anything, and then just kind of get out of the desk, get out of a chair, and walk around a bit. So yeah, all told, still works after, like I said, 8-10 years old. Greenworks Pro, 80 volt. So kitty approved. He's never Frenchie. Whoop. What, MM? Yes, that's right. The boys.